What if I told you one of the most visually striking AIO coolers on the market right now also happens to be budget friendly? This is the Thermalright Wonder Vision 360 UB ARGB. It's a 360mm liquid cooler with a massive 6.67-inch curved AMOLED display and ARGB lighting. It's got the kind of design that instantly becomes the centerpiece of your build. But the real question is, does it have the performance of a good AIO, or is it nothing more than a fancy showpiece? The package comes with everything you need to get up and running on most Intel and AMD sockets. This is the USB cable that's going to connect the screen to your motherboard. All the hardware comes packaged together here. They color-coded the spacers for Intel and AMD, so it's really easy to tell which ones you need for your build. Other manufacturers should take note. It's a small thing, but it makes a big difference. They include a tube of thermal paste because there's nothing pre-applied on the cold plate. You got to do that yourself, and there should be enough for maybe a few installations. And here's the AIO. The water block seems huge, but most of the size is actually just the screen. It's magnetic and detachable, which gives you the option to set it up elsewhere in your PC if you want. I'm not sure how practical that is, but it is possible. There's no permanently attached wires, just a single USB-C port to connect it to the motherboard. The radiator's just over 400mm long, 120mm wide, and 27mm thick. It's glossy white and has some Thermalright branding along the sides with a nice mirror finish. It's a very nice looking radiator. The fans come pre-installed, so there's one less thing to do. It's a custom unifan design rather than being 3 separate individual fans. I like it because it reduces the number of wires, which should help keep everything looking neat and clean. Maximum fan speeds 2150 RPM, airflow 69.3 CFM, and static pressures 2.87mm H2O. And there's some ARGB around each fan and a continuous strip all the way around the perimeter. One thing I don't like is the center of each fan kind of looks unfinished. It looks like there should be some ARGB in the cutouts, or at least a decorative cap there. Seems a bit weird. The tubes are designed for low evaporation, pretty standard for AIOs. The important thing's whether or not the connections to the radiator and water block feel solid, and on this one they do, so we're good. There's 3 clamps you can use to hold the tubes together for a cleaner look, and to make sure you don't have anything hanging down in front of the screen. What's the point of having that big screen if you're just gonna block it with tubes? Under the giant screen, the water block's a square design with a copper cold plate. Once you get the screen off, it starts to look a lot more familiar. It's really not any different looking than what you get with most AIOs. Installation starts with removing the factory CPU mounts from the motherboard. Make sure you save these parts in case you switch coolers or sell the motherboard down the line. Next, we need to drop in the standoffs. I'm installing on AMD socket AM5, so I'm using the red ones, but if you're on Intel, you're going to want to use the blue ones. Now we have to install 2 mounting brackets. They sit on top of the standoffs and get secured with 2 screws each. Make sure they're nice and tight because they're going to be holding the entire water block onto the CPU. When I'm working with AIOs, I always like to get the radiator mounted before I install the water block. The case I'm using has a removable AIO plate, so I can mount that to the radiator outside of the case where it's easier to work. When you're doing this, pay attention to where you want the tubes and wires to end up in your build. If you don't mount it the right way, you might end up with stuff sitting somewhere you don't want it. Now I can take this whole thing and slide it into the case and tighten it down. Now we can take the included thermal paste and apply some to the IHS or integrated heat spreader on top of the CPU. I'm just going to do a blob in the middle and we'll let the cold plate spread it out when we tighten it down. And then we take the water block and make sure the protective cover's removed from the bottom of the cold plate and set it down onto the CPU, lining up the holes on the mounting brackets on both sides. Then screw it down with these 2 nuts on either side. I'm just going to go back and forth, turning each one a little bit at a time to get a nice even spread on that thermal paste. Now we have to connect all the wires. The wiring's simplified because the 3 fans are daisy chained together. Take the wire coming from the fan unit and plug it into the CPU fan header on the motherboard. To get the ARGB working, plug the ARGB cable into any open 3-pin ARGB header. Next, take the pump power cable and plug it into the AIO pump header, which is typically next to the CPU fan header on most motherboards. Now I'm going to take the USB cable that came in the box and plug it into an open USB 2.0 header on the motherboard. And then the other end, with the Type-C connection, plugs into the port on the water block. That's what's going to power the screen. And that's it. The biggest talking point here is obviously that big 6.67-inch curved screen. It's 2400 by 1080 resolution, and it creates a distinctive anamorphic look that stands out way more than any standard round or square LCDs that you get on most AIOs. And honestly, it looks incredible. Animations pop, the colors are vibrant, and it immediately becomes the center of attention in your build. To customize the panel, you'll need TRCC software from Thermalright. It reports all kinds of system information and lets you set custom sensor groups so you can see whatever information you want about your system. There's 5 preloaded themes that display different information overlaid on some backgrounds. I don't particularly like any of these, but that's okay because there's a custom section. You can select from a ton of different backgrounds and animations and build your own theme right from here. Once you pick a background, you can come over and add a graphic overlay if you want. It can add a nice contrast and create a good backdrop to display sensor info. And then you can come over here and customize what information you want to display. You can change the font style, size, and color, and play around with the layout to get it looking exactly how you want. And then if you save it, it'll show up on the main page with all the other themes. So you can make a bunch of custom presets and then swap between them quickly with just one click. That's the good news. The bad news is the software can be kind of frustrating to use. For example, you can't select more than one value at the same time. So if you want to change the font, you have to click on each value and change it individually. Like, why can't I just shift or control click to select them all and then change everything at the same time? And another thing is, for whatever reason, it won't detect my GPU usage. I tried reinstalling, enabling, and disabling the sensor. Nothing seems to make it work. And when you're trying to do a layout, it would be nice to have the option to set custom grid lines to make it easier to line everything up. So overall, it works. It lets you create some nice looking display themes, but the interface and usability could use some improvement. All right, let's move on to the performance testing. I'm running the cooler through a series of Cinebench 2024 loops using the Ryzen 9 9950X processor. I'm also including results from 2 other coolers I tested on this processor, both from Be Quiet, the 420mm Silent Loop 3 and 360mm Light Loop, so that we have something to compare it to. And the pump speed's locked at 100% on all the coolers. At 25 and 50% fan speeds, the Wonder Vision 360 trails the other 2 coolers, but keep in mind this test pushes the 9950X to 100% load, drawing a constant 200 watts. So anything in the 70C area I would say is pretty good performance. If you're gaming, you're not going to see temperatures anywhere near these numbers. The Wonder Vision 360 is the loudest cooler of the bunch by a good amount, and it's actually noticeable. More on that in just a minute. Pushing fan speeds up to 75 and 100%, the trend continues with the Wonder Vision 360 trailing the other 2 coolers, but it's by a very small margin, nothing that would impact real-world performance in any way. And again, the noise levels on the Wonder Vision 360 are the highest. So overall, performance is good. It's keeping up with other high-performance AIOs, but what's the deal with the noise? Well, it turns out a good amount of it's coming from the pump. As the pump approaches full speed, it starts to make a loud, high-pitched squealing sound. I put a microphone up close and captured some of the audio so you can hear it. It's not a nice sound, but it does drop off significantly around 80% or so. So for everyday use, I just cap it around there so I don't have to deal with the noise. Overall, the Wonder Vision 360 is a good performing AIO that rivals the best on the market when it comes to aesthetics, and it's reasonably priced. It's got its share of drawbacks, but none of them are deal breakers in my opinion, especially the software stuff, because that could easily be fixed through updates if Thermalright decides to do that. It's capable of cooling top tier CPUs like the Ryzen 9950X, and it looks amazing. It's nice to see a reasonably priced AIO with a high quality, large scale screen like this. Shopping links and more details are down in the description. Give the video a thumbs up on your way out and get subscribed for more content, and we'll see ya.